Hello, pre-intermediate students. Well, today's topic will be from Offline Reading, Unit 5, Reading 4, called Boomerang. And here we have the vocabulary list. Now, let's first of all start with these vocabulary items. The first word you see here is called a stick. The synonym for this would be pole, often wooden. And here you see two pictures of a stick. And sometimes when you just grab a stick out from a garden and you throw it to your dog, you can play fetch a stick. So this is also another example for a stick. The next word is return to something. So if you return to something, it basically means you go back, turn back, come back, give back, or send back. In the first picture on the left, well, there's this old man wearing this t-shirt, and on the back of him it says, "If lost, return to Jan." And right in front of him you see this old lady wearing a t-shirt, and on the back of her t-shirt it says, "I am Jan." So probably an old man with Alzheimer's or dementia, so that's why he could be wearing this. And on the right you can see this famous movie, which I really like, by the way, Return of the Jedi, Star Wars. So if you haven't watched it, you definitely should. Alright, next one. Weapon. Well, here in this picture you see all sorts of weapons, and I'm sure some of you realize this is Grand Theft Auto, and I also really like playing this too. Okay, the other one is native. It's a noun. The synonyms for this would be citizen, inhabitant, or aborigine. On the left you see these people. They are Australian natives, aborigines, and and there's this another picture on your right. It's called the name of the TV series is called Clever Man. I watched this TV series and I really liked it. It's a dystopian type of TV series. If you haven't watched it, you definitely should. Next, strike. So if you strike a person, this means you hit hard or you somehow make an impact on the person or another thing. So here you see that the guy in blue trousers is throwing a punch at the guy with black clothing. The next one is enemy. So if a person is your enemy, this means that this person is not your friend. So you probably do not really like that person and you're somehow in a competition with this person. And here in the picture you can see the opposite of enemy. The antonyms here are given to you as a list. Next word, hunt. So if you hunt something, this means you're searching for something, you're chasing something to kill it. So this is the action. And the person doing the action of hunting would be called a hunter. Here in the picture you can see 3 hunters. Next word, wild. So here in this picture we see that there are all sorts of wild animals, meaning they're untamed. So this can also mean like, for example, think of dogs or cats. Are they wild? Can we keep them in our house? First of all, they are not wild. They are pets. And yes, we can keep them in our house, which makes them not wild. So basically, you really cannot keep a lion in your home because it's a wild type of animal. Next one, get away with. So if you get away with something, this means you did something bad, but no one really caught you. You escaped from it and you were cleared of charges. So this means you went free. And another TV series suggestion, how to get away with murder. Maybe you heard this or maybe you've already seen it, but I gotta say, this is really good. If you haven't watched this either, please go and watch. This is really nice. Next one, connect. Well, you can see the Wi-Fi here, obviously. And you can connect all sorts of devices, your technological devices or mobile devices, you name it. You can connect them, and you can start using your devices easily. Internet connection, well, connection, noun form, connect, verb form. And you see the synonyms: combine, link, attach, join. Next. Difference. Well, you already know this word, so I'll just focus on some of the synonyms like dissimilarity, distinctness. These would be the synonyms of difference. Spin around, go around. Here, if you look at the women in this blue outfit, you see that this woman is probably a ballerina or a skater. So let me see that. Yes, this woman is a skater. Sorry, my bad. And she's trying to spin around. And as you can see, there's the circular motion when she's doing that. Well, I really like watching ballerinas and ballets, and they're doing this amazing thing with their body. It's unbelievable. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of practice to be that professional in the field. Next one, effect. You also know this word, so I'll just focus on the synonyms, which are impact or result, and the collocation for this word will be have an effect on. Next, to experience. Well, let's take a look at the example first. Have you experienced a situation where a smile could make a difference? Well, this is my question to you, meaning, for example, you were in this situation. Let's say you were gonna ask for something for free from a stranger, and then the first thing maybe you can do is to smile at that person before you ask that question. For example, your phone is out of battery, you have dead battery, and you want to call your mom or dad to let them know that your battery is dead. And you go to a stranger, you ask for them to use their mobile phones. Well, the first thing that you can do is to smile, right? So have you ever experienced that kind of situation? Another example sentence. We may experience some ups and downs in life, but smiling really helps everyone. Well, again, it's like you undergo an event or a situation or an occurrence. Basically, that's what to experience means. Next one. Backward, forward. I think it's pretty clear from the picture, so I'll move on with the next one. To turn in a circle. Well, again, we see this dancer. Well, there is this thing with dancers. Again, like skaters, they use their body, and it's amazing. What they do is truly amazing, because it's kind of impossible for us, like normal people like us, to do this kind of motion without any difficulties. But these people can do this. They turn in a circle when they dance. Another one, be subject to. Well, if you are a YouTuber, or if you have ever tried editing videos or uploading videos on YouTube, you will know that, or I'm sure that you have experienced this thing with songs. Say that you have done this amazing job with your video, and you want to add some songs to it, some music, but you know that there is this copyright issue. Well, most of the songs are subject to copyright. This means that you cannot really use these songs without the permission of the owner, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of money to get that yes from the owner. So therefore, these songs are subject to copyright, basically. Next one is angle. Hello, high school maths. I'm sure you all seen this. You're all familiar with this angle. Here you can see those numbers with these shapes. Next one, to face something. Well, this is quite old, but this was me when I was in primary school. Whenever I acted up and I was a really bad student, not listening to the teacher, talking to my classmates whenever my teachers were, in the lesson. This was me. My teacher just asked me to face the wall. Some kind of a punishment, we could say, but this is no longer. This doesn't happen anymore. I mean, this is something good that it doesn't happen anymore, but in the past, this was what was basically happening with students. They were asked to face the wall. I know. Okay, next, device. Well, the synonym for this is tool or gadget. Mobile devices, I'm sure, would ring a bell. Next. Okay, 4a. Here, in our text, we have 3 paragraphs about boomerang. And we're just going to take a look at the main ideas of each paragraph for this part in exercise 4a. So let's start with the first question. So here you have 4 options, and the next slide here will give you the answer. Okay, I also put some color on these words or sentences to help you finding the main idea. So if you look at the beginning of this paragraph, it starts with a question saying what's boomerang, and then you have another sentence. But then again, what I really like to do is to take a look at those linkers. The first linker here is however, shows contrast, and then you have this follow-up sentence. The real weapon used by Aborigines, Australian natives, was the killer stick. The killer stick is like the boomerang. Again, another linker or connector, we could say. The word like shows similarity. And then you have this another linker, but shows contrast. So these tell me that there's something going on here. And then there's this green sentence. If you look at it, you will see some comparative structures, like words like adjectives like smaller and lighter than. So these tips just tell me that option D is the right answer, because it focuses on the differences between the boomerang and the killer stick. Question number 2. Here again, you're going to find the main idea. Take a look at the options and then take a look at the first sentence of the paragraph. Well, that's another tip. If you're looking for the main idea, what you can do is to take a look at the first and last sentence of the paragraph. It can work. Okay, the answer and the tips. Right, the first sentence. The forces of flight make the boomerang return to the thrower. So basically, obviously, it's about how the boomerang returns to the thrower. Question number 3. Again, the main idea. Take a look at the options here. In the next slide, you will see the tips and the answers. Okay, next one. Next slide. All right. Here, the blue sentence, it's the first sentence. It says it's important not to throw a boomerang horizontally. Okay, here is another tip that I need to share with you. Like I said, linkers really help, but you know what else helps? Negative words. Not is one of those negative words, and you'll see what I mean if you look at the following sentence. Again, starts with the linker. Therefore, a boomerang must be thrown almost vertically. Well, in the first part, in the blue sentence, there's this mention of horizontally. In the second part, which is like the purple sentence, you see that it should be thrown vertically. So this kind of shows some kind of opposite meaning, but of course, it's not just that. Do you remember that tip I shared with you in the previous question, looking at the last sentence of the paragraph 2? Well, here you go. Take a look at the last sentence, the lighter purple. Whatever the shape is, the principles are the same, and the boomerang returns to the thrower if it's thrown in the right way. So then this means that the first sentence, the following sentence, and the last sentence can also really help you whenever you try to find the main idea of a paragraph. And let's also remember that negative words, linkers, they also help a lot. Right, so that brings us to the end of the first part. Now let's move on with the second part. Here you're going to use the words, these connectors, linkers, to fill in the blanks, okay? So we have since, that is, therefore, for example, however, and moreover. Number 1. The killer stick is similar to the boomerang. It doesn't return to the thrower. Again, a negative word. Do you see this word not? Well, it needs to be this word, however, because it shows contrast because of the word not. Number 2. A boomerang spins through the air as it flies, blah, blah, blah. It moves forward while turning around in small circles. Well, any idea for this one? It has to be that is. Do you know why? Because here you're giving an explanation, not you, basically, sorry. The second sentence gives you an explanation. That is here means in other words. Because if you look at the first part of your sentence, it says it spins through the air as it flies. Spinning is explained like moving forward while turning around in small circles. This is an explanation. This is like the clarification of the first sentence. Therefore, we are using this linker, that is. All right, the third sentence. The boomerang was used as a toy. It was used for hunting birds. Any idea? Okay. So in the first part of your sentence, you know that it was used as a toy. In the second part, you know that it's used for hunting birds. So toy and hunting birds, these are different concepts, basically. Because the object boomerang, yes, it can be used as a toy, but it can also be used for hunting birds. This means you're making addition here. Therefore, you're using the linker moreover. Moreover means you're adding information. Okay, number 4. Any idea for this one? Okay, so the correct answer is, for example, take a look at the first part. A boomerang must be thrown in the right way to make it return. For example, if you throw it horizontally or at a wrong angle, it will fall to the ground. So this means there has to be some kind of a right way to make sure that your boomerang returns to you. And then you're giving an example. Because here in the second sentence, there's this word horizontally or at a wrong angle. And you know that it will fall to the ground. So this is an example. If you throw it the right way, it will not fall to the ground. But if you throw it in the wrong way, it will fall to the ground. That's kind of an example. I know that the word wrong makes it sound like a contrast, but it's not contrast here. It's giving you an example. Okay, I hope it's clear. Number 5. The right answer is since here, meaning because. Since means because. Alright, the next one. The boomerang relies on aerodynamics and physics. Its movement involves the forces of flight. Well, therefore would be our correct answer. The synonym for this is for this reason. That's how you can use this linker. Because it shows some kind of a, wrap-up sentence. You're giving information and then by using therefore, you somehow explain that, okay, now I'm done. I'm giving you a kind of a conclusion here. Okay? That's what therefore means. Alright, this part is also completed. Now let's move on with the next part, 4C. Again, we have words here, some vocabulary items that we've looked at, and some others that were not in our target list, but still we're responsible from all of these vocabulary items. And number 1 is done as an example for you already, but let's take a look at it anyway. The killer stick could fly forward very far. Well, of course, it flies forward, not backward. It would be really awkward if it was the other way around, you know? Okay, number 2. Mankind has always admired birds flying the air. Fly through the air. Well, of course, birds fly through the air. I mean, I can't think of any other way. Number 3. The boomerang does not very high in the air but moves in a circle. Well, again, you're using this object, boomerang, and you're throwing it in the air, and within time, it climbs high in the air. But you also know that it moves in a circle, and that's why it's called a boomerang. It's just like that thing we do on Instagram stories, the boomerang action, it just moves in a circle, back and forth kind of movement. Question number 4. Air flows faster over the upper surface of a wing than it does underneath. So the word underneath helps you because there's this comparison here in the sentence. That's why we chose the word over. Number 5. Fly into his nets. Well, of course, birds, the Aboriginal hunter would frighten the birds by using his boomerang to make them fly into his nets. Well, fly into something. That's what birds usually do, or boomerang. Okay, number 6. An airplane takes off using the lift force, which pushes upward. Do you remember that text we covered last week? It was also Unit 5, reading text number 3, Forces of Flight. The lift force helps the plane push upward, remember? This is the same thing with this question. Number 7. Never throw a boomerang horizontally, because then it will fly for some time and fall to the ground. This sentence, I think, was directly taken from the text. Sorry, not the text, the previous exercise with the linkers. If you covered that part, I'm sure this will also sound quite memorable to you, because in that part, you were given this example of throwing the boomerang in the wrong angle. Remember? So that's horizontal. Number 8. The boomerang, frisbee, and discus all spin as they fly. Well, of course, spinning, it's like going round in circles. You remember? Number 9. The weather conditions must be suitable for an airplane to land safely. Well, all planes need to land because when the flight is over and, we have to get out of the airplane. And first of all, airplanes need to land on soil so that we can safely go out of the plane, get out of the plane. See? Okay, number 10. Air moves continuously around the wings of an airplane. Well, naturally, due to the aerodynamics, the air, of course, will move around the wings of an airplane. And the last one. The killer stick hits the animal or the enemy and does not return to the thrower. Well, the boomerang or the killer stick, when you throw it, there's this motion. You throw it and then it comes back to you, and that's how returning occurs. It comes back to you. So basically, return means come back, go back. Remember, we covered this in the first part of our video, in the vocabulary section. So, alright, so let's take a look at the last part. And here, you're going to unjumble the words. The first one, angle. Number 2, cause. Number 3, device. 4, difference. 5, effect. 6, experience. 7, hunt. 8, principle. 9, result. 10, sound. And the last one is throw.